God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This is the Nathan Napalm channel, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about artifacts, which is a very exciting part of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen that adds a lot of mystery and intrigue to the game, in my opinion, plus adds a lot of strategy and added utility and lots of other things. So recently in the Co-Carnage stream, we did get to see an artifact that was found, and Joppa explained it a little bit, but this is not the first time we've heard about artifacts, and we're going to go back and we're going to look at previous information with examples of very specific artifacts that are going to be in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and we're going to discuss what they are and etc. So before we begin, I do want to give a big shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you all so very much for your support. I could not do this without you. And if you're interested in becoming a member, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. Alright guys, so I'm going to play this clip first so that you can see Co finding the artifact and of course Joppa explaining a little bit about what it was, and then we're going to talk about the previous artifacts that have already been mentioned for being in the game. Alright, here we go.
Heoket's Eye. May this artifact grant you clear sight within the fog of Whoa. Nani? Wait, what? Hold up. I am floating? Oh my.
So that is an artifact, and in Pantheon we have an item category known as artifacts that are these very, very
right here
special, unique items that will usually come with a pretty substantial, some visual goodness, but also have a very, very important gameplay impact. And the place we're about to go, you can think of artifacts as like specific answers to specific questions that the environment or the game poses. So in the next fight we're about to do, there is an effect that the boss has that is pretty deadly, but this artifact actually mitigates that specific effect and allows you to handle that much easier.
It's the levitate before the gravity crush of Kazakh Thule. I love it. I love it.
So Joppa summed that up really well. So basically you have to think of it that this particular footage at Co-Carnage was playing was evaluation build, so it was found very obviously before the boss fight. However, in the actual game, these will be hidden around the world. They will be things that the players have to discover. So it could be a point where there's a raid fight or a boss fight where it's just seems impossible, right? And not to say that you won't be able to defeat that boss through other strategies and other means, or to overcome, it's not just boss fights, by the way, to overcome certain atmospheres or whatever environment challenge or whatever game challenge you're running into. Maybe you can work it out and figure out a way using abilities and things with different classes to get around that. However, there are artifacts hidden out there that will make it much easier, much more obtainable to get to that goal. So let's take a moment and let's go all the way back to February 2019, practically forever ago, and look at when they were talking about artifacts, and they gave us some really good insight, major beans on artifacts. So here's what it said in that newsletter way back then. By seeking and acquiring artifacts, artifacts are legendary, rare items players can discover that offer unique utility. They are necessary to explore and overcome areas of the game where atmospheres exist. In the Gloom example, players would need to acquire and equip the bone-woven veil to mitigate Gloom's negative effects. So here's a list of some of the ones that they said and the utility that they provide. Shield of Mirrors, forged by the Master Smiths of Kadasa. It can reflect light and has a chance to reflect magical attacks when blocking. So here we have an artifact that can be found probably somewhere around the dwarves, right? It reflects magical attacks. So when you block, which by the way, now we know warriors, for example, when they block, that is an action they take, when they do that, if they have this artifact, a magical attack can be reflected back. That's insanity, right? So this is going to be highly sought after, probably for many different boss fights. Here's another one, Skyhold Grappler. This one reminds me of Legend of Zelda because it's fashioned by the gnomes of Skyhold to assist in advanced terrain traversement. So the Skyhold Grappler can latch onto special surfaces and pull you to the target location. So this one is super exciting because that means there's probably areas that are too high to climb or too difficult to get across, big huge chasms and that kind of thing, that you're going to need this grappler to explore that area. So now we're talking full exploration here. So this is an interesting environment challenge where not to say maybe if you had really high endurance and you had really good climbing gear, maybe you could get around this and you could still explore that without finding this and holding this artifact. However, having this artifact is going to open it up for people to explore that don't have those very specific means. So this is a really cool example of the PvE in Pantheon being so much more than just fighting a bunch of mobs, right? Next up, the Ring of Anchors, infused with the bitterness of the dark myrrh. This ring was designed to sink the wearer to the deepest reaches of the ocean. So being able to go really deep and explore deep into the ocean, right? And once again, it's exploration and PvE based, right? So who knows what secrets, right, that somebody can uncover if they have these artifacts. And once again, dark myrrh, for example, as a race, can breathe underwater. So could a dark myrrh go down, and is this something that would be good for somebody who isn't a dark myrrh, right? We don't know until the game is released exactly how that will play out, but what we can see, what we can scratch off of the surface of this, is that this is huge on exploration, which is a huge part of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, is that this is a living, breathing world, and things like this give you new goals to obtain, new things to do, mystery to the world, and of course that player first kind of thing when people find where it's located in the world and how to get it, right? And then, last but not least, they have the Crest of Illumination. This archive crown was imbued with a powerful, resonating light source that can shine through the blackest of darkness. And we know that darkness is an environmental challenge in some areas where it's just so thick with the black and darkness that it's very hard to pierce through it and see and be able to survive because of that darkness. Not to mention creatures who are attuned to the darkness that would swarm you without some kind of protection, right? Once again, what I really like about the artifact examples we've been given so far, including the one in the Co-Carnage stream of the evaluation build, is that it seems to be, as Joppa said, it's an answer to a question. Is it the only answer to that question? No, absolutely not. Players will find all kinds of crazy ways, especially with the way the abilities are set up for classes, etc., to get around challenges that even the developers did not see coming, and that's emergent gameplay, and that's a big part of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. If you like emergent gameplay and you like figuring out and doing something new or a new strategy, then this is the game for you, because the developers aren't trying to hold your hand or trying to stop you from doing that, as was demonstrated in my interview with Ben Dean, in which we talked about that, and he actually expressed how exciting that was, how good that was, and how that's something they want to actually promote in the game. And it's why they've designed certain abilities to be able to do that. But back to the subject at hand, artifacts give you an answer, right? So being able to do these things in a way, even if you specifically weren't designed to do that with your stats and with your race and your class, etc. And I think that is super exciting. It's one of those aspects of Pantheon that doesn't get a lot of attention, but it really should, because this is a Pantheon difference, right? The artifacts and the environment and the challenges, and it answers a lot of questions of how they're going to do their environmental challenges in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, because we all know that PvE in Pantheon means so much more than it does in every other MMO already out for sure, but also definitely even the ones to come. It is a very big difference between those MMOs and Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. The other thing I find interesting looking at these, right, and I'm not saying this is the only way and the only ones, right, obviously there's going to be more than the ones that they've told us about, because they're going to want some that we have no idea even exist, so it just blows our mind when they're discovered in the world or on your server, etc. However, it is interesting as we run through the examples they gave that they're running through very specific kind of artifacts made by specific races. It's almost like each race has made their own artifact, right? And if you look into lore and all that kind of thing, you can kind of start piecing together that this probably is true, right? Maybe they have more than one, right? But it does feel like that what they're saying here is that each race has one, so there probably is an artifact which kind of makes sense for that specific race and what they do and what they're good at, etc., to where you can go to their cluster of zones, and hopefully, I'm thinking, and there will be some kind of artifact located in each of the cluster of zones surrounding where that race mainly is, where their main city is, etc. So it makes it a thing where you're going to want to travel around the world, and you had lots of reasons to do that in Pantheon. You had the artifacts now, where you can go around and try to find these and locate them and go through the quest chains or whatever it may be, or maybe it's just a really hard place to get to, etc. Unravel those secrets yourself and get that artifact, and then the thing is you'll be doing content in the game that makes you be like, I've heard there's an artifact that does this or that would really help this particular barrier that me or my party has ran into. And that's super exciting, guys, right? Like, I get goosebumps thinking about playing this game, being in Terminus, in the world of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and all these really cool, deep aspects of it. Because playing Pantheon is going to be like peeling open an onion, and there's just layer after layer of sweet, geeky, nerdy goodness, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like that's what MMORPGs are supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be so multi-layered that it takes you a long time and a lot of effort and research and learning and playing the game and being in the world to actually uncover and feel like you might know it all, or at least have a ton of knowledge, which always goes back to helping new players and showing them things and blowing their minds when they discover or they find out about this other aspect, such as artifacts. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this? Are you excited about this? Do you think this is a really cool feature in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen? Or any other things you might want to say about the artifacts? I hope you enjoyed the video today. I'm super excited about this game. Now that we have the evaluation build out, and I'm sure they're going to be, if they haven't already, showing this to publishers and major investors, and once they can acquire that meets their vision, then we can really get the development team stacked up, get a lot of people on the team, and they've already got tons of pipelines and ways to get this world made faster. Just need more people to get it done in a timely manner, so hopefully we get some information on that soon. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing that. And one last time, I want to give a big, major shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you all so much. You are my sponsors. You are what keeps this channel alive. Thank you so much. Could not do this without you. And if you're interested in becoming a member and helping support this channel, please click the join button down below for more information, a list of perks. And if you're interested in more information about Pantheon, please check out my playlist here on the channel about Pantheon, which there is over 200 videos. You can literally scroll through that and watch those and get completely up to date on everything we know about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and see it happen in order of when we found those out. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, God bless and happy gaming. Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. It's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.